Dagath. 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 I'm gonna say Dagath. Today's 30 minutes. Hopefully, this time, it will go significantly better than it did with Sight. For now, I got maximum energy filled on spawn for the Archon shard. Only one of them. Build caters to a spectral spirit form. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Brave for Spite is going to be pretty cool, alright? Otherwise, pretty basic. Let me do this first. Incarnon, Fortress Salvo, Extended Volley, and Absolute Valor. Actually, do the build now. I don't think I have. No, I didn't think so. Pretty basic build, pretty standard. Version's really good. The Cycron, Circron, whatever it is, Cycron. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. And then the Destreza. The melee influence build. Actually, I do have a Riven, which is decent, but the finisher damage is kind of redundant. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Same as always for this stuff. Pretty basic. You got my Saint Skizinator, Clamora Certus Pad. For some reason, if I start using this, put that. Rattler. My Pheastus. Pretty good. Oh yeah. Let's get this show on the road. Dagath you get from specific alerts and whatnot. So, let's see, I think I have, yeah, these abyssal zones, but they're exterminates. So, let's do this Grineer survival. So Draco actually used to be the hangout spot for, leveling up back in the day, because it actually used to be an interception. They specifically changed this mission type to nerf it because it was so good at leveling things up. You only needed to run 2 to 3 rounds before getting it. Dagath is immune whenever interspected from it. Only caveat is the fact that she it's only for a set amount of time. I'm not sure if it can be disabled though. Really, she's really good. Invincible. I'm not sure, I completely forget. Again, I'm not really reading these abilities before I go in. I kind of forget how they operate. But her augment is really good, as you can tell. Typically, it's actually like a passive thing that's always on, and then if you die, or take fatal damage rather, it gets activated, you go to restore. This immediately assumes it. Right, as per the description. And you also get cooldowns per kill. Pretty decent considering the fact that her 4 makes her vulnerable when you use it, and it's actually really strong. that. Look how much of that. And it strips armor too. Dagath is just a good frame, honestly. Now watch me say that and be unable to complete it like this. It should be fine because I don't gotta worry about the issues like before. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. This is going so much better. And it helps that I have a Perchance booster. It's kind of... I don't actually know if that increases the chances of you getting less or not. But... the Dagath is good. Simply put. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Having no issues. Yeah, this is an easy dubski. This is an easy dubski. Now, I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure I don't eat my words. Like last time. Okay. Beautiful. Take care of acolytes just fine. Helps that I have the burst. So let me utilize some other weapons here. Beautiful. Beautiful. What's not beautiful is his melee. Even though I have 100% crit chance, it's still not doing anything. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, we're just gonna stick with burst then. I'm gonna stop shooting. Cast that. And then bam. Look at that upkeep time on this bad boy. Recently you were able to actually get Dagath's parts from alerts. But you had to build them though. They weren't pre-built. But yeah. And the thing is though, is that you still gotta do the abyssal things, which you get abyssal beacons from syndicates. Honestly, not a terrible farm. I did a little, because I think I actually ended up on Dagath straight up. I didn't actually farm her. It would be tedious. I can definitely see it being tedious, but for actual farm requirements of getting more vein things, which I think you need like roughly 200, I'd say. I got 13 from one mission. Because the thing is that the mission doesn't make it clear, but you can pick up multiple bandits. Because whenever you pick them up in the mission, it's like holding like a data thing, a data mass, for example. I wouldn't have sworn that. Yeah. But and you got to take it to a specific spot, right? The extraction point. And the thing is that you can take multiple to that area without extracting. You just gotta find them throughout the map and whatnot. I think yeah, actually no, I know, rather. But get some kind of debuff when you're carrying it, but you can put multiple down in like the extraction zone for advantage. You can get a good deep chunk. And I don't think I did that with a resource booster either. So, all in all, her farm isn't terrible, right? The main thing is getting the abyssal beacons, in case you're a bit of a slacker when it comes to getting your syndicates up. Let's not die here. Wonders not to die, you know? Whoa there, buddy. My brief respite just kind of refuses to work sometimes. Is it still? Okay, it just kind of refuses to work sometimes, my brief respite, and I'm not sure why. It just does that sometimes. I noticed that on Saren as well, because my build for her before, you know, getting like overguard using secondary fortify, because I usually use aquacore with secondary fortify. Sometimes my respite will just refuse to activate. Even like, because it's 150% of your energy turns into shields. That's kind of like the whole point. But look at, why is it that it only sometimes procs, like whenever I'm using my field, for example? Like that, why? Like it should be all of my abilities. That it says 150% of energy cast. Period. Should turn into shields. Unless it's the fact that I'm not using, you know what, that's what it is. That's the difference, never mind, I'm just being dumb. The difference is the fact that on my Saren build I'm using catalyzing shields, which reduces the amount of total shields that I have. Which causes my shield to regen to full every single time that I use it. It's actually the same here with my Dagath. Whenever I use my 4, I'm just using enough energy to actually make a substantial impact on my shields. So, now I know why. I was just kind of being dumb, right? So like my total shields, even with overguard, is like 70. Catalyzing shields. That means every cast of every ability regardless of how cheap, I get double and a half of it in back shields, which completely regens my shields. Max. Like, look at that. Of course, it's kind of not energy efficient to do that. But it does get bumped there. I can see it happen. I was wondering, but no. That's my bad. Whoopsie. I forget that. Things work because math. Moment of truth if he actually disables my shit. I'll get disarmed instead. Yeah, he does disable it. That is crazy. The fact that he can disable that is absolutely nuts. That is crazy. That is proper crazy. Okay. Duly noted. Violence can disable your third even if you're in it. So pay attention, fellas. Now I don't gotta deal with them for the rest of the time. That's so I guess I haven't actually shown off the skill tree of Vazarin, I think it is, that I'm on. But on the right side of the skill tree, I'll show it after the mission, there's a thing I'm using specifically called Protect the Slang. And what it does is that every time that I void dash through allies or myself or anything, it'll become invincible for a few seconds and start like turbo recharging my shields. It does a great deal for survivability in case you have a lot of issues with that. Even like a level 1 or level 0, just unlocking the thing. You just won't get invincibility for as long, or it's that your shield doesn't get recharged as fast. But being able to make yourself invincible whenever you need it. Like, my shields are gonna break here, and I need them back, or I don't want to die, because I don't exactly have the means of, let's say, recharging them. I just protect the sling, bam, right, and then I'm good for a teeny tiny little bit. That's all you need is that teeny tiny little bit. It allows you to survive. How did I take damage just now? Doesn't matter. We're invincible. Yeah, the moment I hopped on, or got off of work today, hopped on this. It's usually what I've been doing. I usually do it as soon as I get off, just so I can, make sure I remember to do it. Man, they are quick with trying to murderize me. Doesn't matter though, because man, this augment's good. Holy. And you can make this build so much better too, like with Archon shards and whatnot. I only have the one to make sure I can actually cast the thing. Look at that, instantly got it back up with as many enemies double kill there. And you can increase the amount of cooldown, like, reducing per kill that you get. I don't know which stat it is, though. I think it might be just power shot. Angst. Yeah. Rip Bozo. Bozo. Okay, I'm getting instantly knocked down. That's gonna be cutting close. Oh my god. Okay, good. There's two things that just so happen to be there. Not even close. Not even close. Look at that. That wouldn't be there if this was Sylvania. This would be gone. This would be actually 130,000 fucking miles away. Look at this. Skadoosh. And I get it back. Golly, look how far they go. That could have been me, because I got knocked. That alone, right there, like, shows you why seconds count sometimes. But just having those couple of seconds, 1 second of invulnerability, because if another enemy had started shooting at me at the same time I was knocked down, cooked, would have gone down. Which is why you have people singing the praise of crime shoot footage so often, because if you're not spending time knocked down, you're not dying, right? You're staying up, doing stuff, staying active in the fight. Which is why people glaze it so much. It's not a requirement. If you press A quick enough after you get knocked down, you'll recover quicker. Fun fact right there. That was actually in the patch notes way back when they removed self-damage from the game. There used to be self-damage, by the way. You could blow yourself to Kingdom Come. No, not even pausing, because you could blow yourself hard. Okay, it used to be crazy style. Any AOE weapon. Just quote, if you want to do close here. But that was in the patch notes of whenever they actually ended up removing it, replacing it with some stagger instead. And yeah, if you tap A quickly enough after you're knocked down, you'll recover faster. yeah, obsessions really boil down to these sharing old knowledge of back in the day stuff, the good old times of sticks and stones before all the quality of life. I actually do not know if the game would have popped off like it did for the old piece and whatnot if it wasn't for them removing self-damage. Because that was a huge pain point for a lot of people. There's dissenters that are like, oh, skill, but come on, bro. If the pinnacle of skill expression to you is not blowing yourself to because you accidentally hit the lip of an object that doesn't actually extend that far but does in its hitbox and just completely annihilate your own face, and that's skill to you, then yeah. You got issues. Alright. Me personally, skill expression in Warframe is knowledge. How, and not just fucking the remembering way back when certain things. I mean like proper in-depth mechanical knowledge of the game and how it works. Like for example, YouTuber named the Kengineer. That, my friend, is a pinnacle example of being skilled in the game. Even though, you know, typically you wouldn't prefer knowledge and skill. The same thing, but see, you know, your skill would hone, or your knowledge would hone your skill. Warframe is a power fantasy game at the end of the day, therefore skill doesn't exactly exist. I mean, okay, that's not entirely true. Speed running certain things, like for example, triathlon hunting solo, or doing Profit Taker solo and whatnot, and doing that in like a crazy fast amount of time, that takes skill. Okay, that's not just the knowledge. They need to be able to perform those tasks as well at the same time. But since most people aren't like speed doing Profit Taker solos and like I think 3 minutes or so, like it's crazy how short the time gets. Generally, the proper way of measuring skill in Warframe is just knowing what goes where, how does what, why, instead of just kind of going purely based on vibes like I do. Like, I wouldn't call myself a particularly skillful player in the game. I just, you know, pure vibes. Like straight instincts. I don't really think about things before I do it. That's why I couldn't do Sight of 9 yesterday. I was just kind of throwing shit at the wall and hoping it stuck, and that time it didn't. Sight of 9 clearly requires a little bit more critical thinking to accomplish. Of course, I could have gone to another survival like this and did just fine, but to do it in Albania, so you need to manage a little bit, and I simply was not doing the required effort to properly achieve it, even though 30 minutes isn't a long time at all, especially in terms of Warframe. Clearly, there's a balancing that you need to do with what you're doing and how fast you're doing, because I mean in regular survival it's just the survival mode, and it stacks over time. Like, look at how many towers I have. If I would in Albania, I would need to manage the life support towers. I need to know where they are, which ones I know I can use, which ones I can't. It requires a little bit more in-depth knowledge, you know, of how things operate. Typically, when I'm running Albanian survival, I'm running a Warframe that kills so fast that it doesn't matter. Like Palermo, for example, I can in X amount of time, insert in time there. and do just fine. I mean, in my Calervo thing, right, it's clearly prevalent just how powerful he is with the type of build that I have. Like, there's 0 questions asked. But yeah, I think skill and knowledge are one of the same thing. It kind of goes into the same tried and true point of just because you're a high MR doesn't exactly make you a warframe. That I believe that wholeheartedly. You can be an LR5 and actually completely terrible at the game. Just because you've leveled up everything you can doesn't exactly make you knowledgeable. It just means that you spend a lot of time. You would think that spending a lot of time in the game means that you're knowledgeable of it, but that's not exactly the case. I think I'm also a pretty good example of that. I'm not bad at it, I'm clearly, right? I can manage. I think that the most prevalent example of that would be whenever I ran Banshee, and I was like, okay, clearly this isn't working. Let me try this, and it actually worked. I was actually, you know, thinking properly. But I'm not exactly good at the game, right? Like my knowledge base is pretty substantial, but only because I've spent enough time in the game that forces me to remember things. Like proper in-depth knowledge of actually thinking, knowing, things like that. No. I mean, it could be there, but I'm also not playing this game full-time. You think I would, how much fucking time I've spent in it, but I do play other games at the same time. Maybe, I mean, even recently I've been on motivation something else. Can't play any game at all. I don't spend much time in Warframe outside of these 30-minute things. But yeah, it's... Odds are in the future, speaking of this, by the way, I will be redoing it, but I'm going to finish all the Warframes first, and then go back over the ones that I may or may not fail in the future. Obviously starting with the Cycle 9, because that's the earliest in the alphabet that it gets. At the moment. But he's going to be the first. But I end up revisiting, if I end up revisiting. Okay, that's 30 minutes though. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Of course, having Vazarin and Protective Sling made that so much easier. It's not even funny. But Dagath is just also a really good warframe. The only pain point is the fact that her survivability option can be deactivated. Oh, I completely forgot what I was doing. That was conferring with the individual that I was gifting something to, and they opened it. Anyway, I don't think I did through this. So, bunch of stuff, bunch of hootenanny. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's nice to have a successful attempt. I am going to show off this protective sling. It's just under void snare. And I was touched by void sling. I grant immunity for 5 whole seconds and healed 60% over 5 seconds. The energy cost doesn't matter because that's your operator energy cost. But yeah, that is what I was using the whole time and continue to use. I got to show off the next one, which is Ember. And of course, it's not even a question. I have the heirloom skin. I have all the heirloom skins, even the ones that you can't get anymore. I spent the $90. Damn right I did. Yeah. But yeah, that is 30 minutes. Way better that time. I love having successful attempts. Anyway, that's 30 minutes. Perchance.